Episode 7 of House of the Dragon is by far the best episode this season, and it starts off with the funeral of House Velaryon. So let's take a moment of silence for House Velaryon. Laena was one of my favorite characters this season, even though she had very little screen time and very little dialogue in comparison to the other major characters. But it feels like her story is essentially the story of House of the Dragon. Her story is the story of the person that could have stopped the Civil War, the person that was the key to stopping all this from unfolding, and now she's gone. So with that being said, this episode transitions into drawing the line between House Rhaenyra and House Aegon, or Alicent as you want to put it, the Greens versus the Blacks. Rhaenyra even goes as far as to refer to them as the Greens when she's talking to Daemon about the threat, because with the death of Lionel Strong, the Hand of the King, Otto Hightower is back in the picture. This episode does a lot to show us just how much power Viserys doesn't have anymore. But before we dive too deep into the political machinations of what's going on with the king and the crown, we have to shift focus a little bit to the children. More specifically, Aemond, Daemon's daughters, Baela and Rhaela, as well as Rhaenyra's kids, Jace and Luke, and how they all come to blows over the dragon Vhagar. In the last episode, Laena had Vhagar burn her alive, essentially giving her a dragon rider's death, and now Vhagar has no host. And we know that Aemond has been looking to tame a dragon. Well, Aemond has now tamed the biggest dragon in Westeros. And this is a big blow to Rhaenyra's faction. One, it gives Alicent's side the biggest dragon in all of Westeros, a big nuclear weapon. And two, actually weakens her side as well as House Velaryon, because Vhagar is on Driftmark. And Vhagar, while technically not belonging to anybody because dragons don't belong to anybody, he's on Driftmark, he's part of the Velaryons, and Laena's daughter was going to attempt to claim Vhagar, but Aemond beat her to it. That's a huge thing, and that starts a huge fight where Aemond, who's been getting training from Christian Cole, beats up on Rhaenyra and Daemon's kids. Like, it's 4-on-1, but he has actual training, kicks all their asses. I mean, he even hit the girls until Luke slashed his eye and gashed them. Now, this is where lines have been drawn, things have crossed, blood has been spilled. This is the first blood that has been spilled because of the Civil War, and this blood is a blood that almost marks the beginning of the end for the Targaryen dynasty. This is when it's fractured in half. We find ourselves back in Driftmark, and now there's a huge debate going on, and Alicent wants blood. And at this point, everyone's spilling tea. Everyone's talking about the Velaryon boys and how they look nothing like their father Laenor. Everyone's going crazy. Laenor is missing. Laenor's dad is here. Laenor's mom is here. His nieces, his brother-in-law, his wife. Everyone is here except for him, and they're questioning the legitimacy of his son. And clearly, everyone knows, even Corlys, who I feel so bad for this episode. Corlys Velaryon just wants his legacy to sit on the Iron Throne. Even to the point where he knows Rhaenyra's kids are not his grandsons, but because they carry his last name, they're called Jacaerys and Lucerys Velaryon. They have his blood. History will remember his dynasty, his bloodline on the Iron Throne. Even if they're not his blood, it's marked down as he's their grandfather. In 500 years, we're not even going to know what Corlys and Jace look like, but what we will know in history is he was the grandfather of the king, which is all that matters to him. But I feel bad losing his daughter, losing his son this episode, because Laenor dies or goes missing, which I have an issue with a little bit. I'm all for them helping Laenor out, right? I'm all for Laenor being out of the picture. Laenor was useless. Laenor was a character with so much potential that became one of the more useless characters. My thing with it is Laenor abandoned his family, abandoned the crown in the middle of a civil war, and just said, fuck it, I'm out. I'm going with my boyfriend. We're going to live our best lives. There's war going on here. It's insane. That shift to me, which is different from the books, that shift did not sit well with me. It made me not like the character of Laenor at all. Your sister's dead. This is her funeral. Your mother and father just lost a kid. Now you're taking another one from them. Rhaenyra just pleaded with you last episode. Granted, Rhaenyra wants you out of here so she can marry Daemon, which she wanted since she was a child, and kind of establish the Targaryen dynasty. The fuck, Laenor? Seriously. Like, Corlys has worked his entire life. Corlys built his family up to be the richest family in all of Westeros. The least you could have done, this guy has lost blood, sweat, and tears for his family, and now he has nothing to show for it. Speaking of someone who has nothing to show for it, Viserys is halfway dead. He loves Rhaenyra, and now he's having to choose between his wife and daughter. But it goes to show, even while this is happening, Viserys has no power left whatsoever. Alicent blatantly disregards him and disrespects him in front of everybody, and he does nothing about it. Even Otto Hightower tells her, just go talk to him. Like, he doesn't care. Like, no one respects the king anymore, and it's over for that. Like, Rhaenyra knows this, which is why she marries Daemon, and that whole ceremony was kind of weird, and I feel like their kids are going to be traumatized. Imagine watching your uncle and your mom get married, or your aunt and your dad get married the day after, or within seemingly a week or two of both your parents dying, right? It's ridiculous, but it threatens their line, it threatens their cause for succession, and now you have the last two heirs of the Iron Throne on the same side. Because remember, before episode 1, Daemon was the heir before he insulted Viserys' dead son, and now Rhaenyra is the heir, but then you have Aegon, Aemon, and that side of the family. Otto Hightower is ready for war. Now that they have Vhagar, the biggest dragon in the land, expect House Hightower to be more emboldened, more brash, more disrespectful to the rest of House Targaryen. And now the civil war has started. A line has been drawn in the middle, and now it's full on war. And honestly, at this point, Alicent has made herself unlikable, but at the same time, Rhaenyra is becoming unlikable too. Rhaenyra is taking her post as princess and heir to the next level, and I could see how that rubs other people the wrong way. So she's not doing herself any favors by having 3 bastard kids with brown hair, ducking tradition, and essentially you're a woman and half the realm doesn't want you on the Iron Throne. You would think you would be moving a little bit more low key, but Rhaenyra gives zero fucks, and now full-on war starts from this moment on. The next 3 episodes are going to be crazy. Violence, war, and everything breaks out, and this is where the House of the Dragon begins. This could have been the first episode of House of the Dragon, and the series would have kept going, and it would have been the same storyline. So this is essentially the jumpstart to the rest of the story. But guys, that's my thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and until next time, binge on.